I cut my MIL completely off. I cut my MIL from my life earlier this year, and from time to time I feel guilty. I sometimes question if it was the right thing, but then I think of the reasons why I don't want to be around her in the first place, and I think they're valid. But be warned, there is a lot to this. My MIL wanted nothing to do with me in the first place. She treated my husband and I relationship as something that was just a fling. When I first got with my husband, he only told his sister. However, the next day his ex-girlfriend found out because his sister and ex-GF were still friends, so she told her. His ex wasn't happy and lashed out at him, then gave him an ultimatum. Of course, my husband didn't want anything to do with her given their history and how she treated him. But that's not the point. His sister broke his trust and turned around to tell his ex. Let's also not forget the fact that before he and I got together, his mom and sister were trying everything to get them back together. His sister would forget something at his ex's house and they would make him retrieve it from her almost all the time. His mom would say that he has to be in contact with his ex so that his sister and she can still be good friends. They would do all of this despite knowing she was incredibly abusive and cheated on him multiple times. Once we were together though, they lessened the contact they had with his ex. So all was fine? Right? Everything was fine. Maybe a few comments about my body were made, but it was rare and nothing I felt was directly offensive or had a deeper thing behind it. That changed though once my husband was in the talks about marrying me. The comments became more aggressive and much more hurtful. So did his sister's comments towards me, again always about my body. I was the most low esteem I've ever been and I was hurt. For the first time in my life, I found a problem with my naturally slim body and I just felt so ugly. I was in a dark place by this time. My husband decided to talk to his mom and sister and tell them to stop. So he did. His mom said sorry, that she didn't mean to hurt me. But again, next time we hung out she said those things again, but more in my face. My husband kept talking to them, telling them to stop, but they continued. It didn't help when he finally moved in with me because the passive-aggressive comments just got worse. His mom would grill us about going and seeing them. She wanted us to see them, really her, every week, and she wanted him to call her every day. I didn't like visiting because it didn't feel like I was spending time with family. It just felt like his mom wanted to know his every move and decision. It was like being interrogated and getting told off when we did something she didn't like or wasn't her way. It was mentally exhausting. Eventually, my husband and I had a big argument and he stayed with his family to get some space. When he came back, some weeks passed by. My husband ended up telling me the things his mom would say to him. His mom at first was very attentive, then eventually started lashing out at him and trying to convince him to leave me. He asked her why she didn't like me and just listed out assumptions she made about me and blamed me for things that were not even my fault. Some of those things she already knew why it was like that, but it seemed like she absolutely refused to accept that there were consequences to her actions towards others. On top of that, she would constantly speak negatively about Mexicans. To let y'all know, I'm half Mexican / half Puerto Rican. My husband would be listening to music and she would just tap him on the shoulder and share with him all the negative things Mexicans do. Mind you, I know the difference between intentionally insulting a group of people versus simply talking about real concerns and problems. So the things she was saying were very much just being hateful. One of the things she said once was that Mexicans are trashy and Spanish people were so much more classy than Mexicans. So fast forward a couple of months and my husband and I are talking to his little brother. His brother was telling us that my FIL wanted to divorce my MIL and that his mom was constantly telling him that it was the little brother's fault. Their mom would purposely take my BIL out and start interrogating him on what their dad was saying about her. My husband asked him if their mom was saying things about me behind our back, since around this time she stopped saying hurtful things to me. His sister would be the only one and it would be very subtle. My BIL heard her say that she hates me, and out of all the girlfriends my husband has had, his ex-girlfriend was the one she most liked. The same ex-girl they tried so hard to get my husband together with her. But here's the funny part in what broke the camel's back, as my husband says. So starting the beginning of this year, my husband and I decided to go on his old Instagram account to officially delete it, and being curious we looked through the DMs. His ex-girlfriend sent him a strange message. She asked him if I sent her a message so she can save her ass if it was actually me. But get this, she sent it when my husband was at his parents' to get space. Nobody knew we were having problems except his immediate family. His sister is still friends with his ex-girlfriend and is very much active on her FB. What my husband and I gathered was they were trying to get us to not want anything to do with each other. My husband and I were shocked when we found out, and ultimately we both agreed to completely cut contact with them. There's so much more, but those are really the key things. It's been peaceful and I've been able to heal and feel confident in myself again. Fever dream. The world is ruled by a single, all-powerful bologna sandwich called the Grand Duke of Bologna. Donald Duck must find a way to overthrow him and bring peace to the land. Donald was in the supermarket when suddenly this strange green wrapper caught his eye. It was a packaged bologna sandwich, but it wasn't like the rest, it was evil. He got it home and opened it. The sandwich sprang forth, speaking with a voice from within. "I am the Grand Duke of Ooey Gooey and Bologna," it said as its pickled tongue sent drops of mustard to the table. "You must find the 7 sacred white feathers, and use them to overthrow me," it continued, "for I have grown too powerful and must be stopped. My mustard is getting low, I must get more." Donald Duck watches in disbelief as the sandwich jumps off the table, opens the fridge and starts drinking the spicy brown mustard. "I must hurry before it gets away," Donald thinks to himself as he runs out the door. "Ah, that's better," I say, tossing the empty mustard bottle to the side. Inspecting the pickles, I find the perfect one to replace my old pickle tongue. My bologna quivers in anticipation of the white feathers. As Donald runs, he stops, realizing that his whole body is covered in sacred white feathers. What is the meaning of this? The evil bologna sandwich thinks. I must find out, and with that the evil bologna sandwich jumps back into the fridge and searches for a spy. Looking through the fridge, the sandwich finds the half-eaten meatloaf and fashions a little meat man out of it. "There. This shall be my spy. Take your olive camera and pistachio tape recorder and bring me back the information I requested." The little meat man salutes and dashes out the door. The sandwich, proud of his meat man, sits in anticipation of the delight of being overthrown. But little does it know that Donald Duck is already on his way to find the final white feather. "Oh, doggone son of a bitch motherfucker," says Donald, trying to find the final white feather. He finds it right on the side of his cloaca. Here it is. Now to defeat that evil bologna sandwich. With that he dashes back home. But the meat man has already gone to market and is spying on the butcher. Soon the sandwich will have enough bologna to take over CNN. "Muahahahahahahaha," laughs the sandwich. "I will crush you, insignificant duck, and all who stand in the way of my glorious Ooey Gooey and Bologna." I can't believe I'm actually role-playing with a meat man. I wish I could show this to my friends back at the home. Oh no! The meat man has been discovered. "The sandwich will be here any moment," screams the butcher. The meat man hides in a meat locker. "Well, this is awkward," thinks the sandwich. "I guess I'll just have to find another spy." And with that, the sandwich jumps out of the butcher and begins to search for another meat lover. I know. I'll make a little meatball and name him Bolo. He'll be my best friend and spy on Donald for me. The sandwich crafts a small meatball and names it Bolo. "Hello Bolo, my little spy friend. You must find out where that insolent duck is going next." Had mostly a good day. Last Friday, I finished my first semester of college and I've had the last week off. My program is condensed, so I have just one more week off before second semester. I'd planned to get ahead of stuff and do readings while I had this break. For a couple of days I did some reading and note-taking and it straight up ruined everything. I'm going to have plenty of time to do nothing but study next semester, and really what's the point of getting ahead when the pace is already so quick? The advantage will be gone in a week? No, I'm taking the time to wander and listen to music and catch up on every little thing with the cats and dog. It was such nice weather today. I biked up to some paths in my area and had a bit of a walk. I used to wander around that area a lot in the summer, just looking into pools of water with tadpoles and minnows and finding trails to follow. I saw a great blue heron today and it did not trust me. It was watching me from the reeds to make sure I was actually leaving when I walked past and not circling back along a ridge to get to it, which is exactly what my predator mind would have thought to do. That was about it for wildlife besides some frogs and little fish, but of course there was also bird song, which I miss so much in the winter. I biked back along the river and it was great. Still nice and sunny. When I got home, things fell apart a bit, though, because I ate way too much food. I've got a lot of weight to lose, like I could stand to lose 50 pounds and I'm getting on that lately. I've been eating pretty well, but today, something clicked and the next thing I knew, I'd eaten a frozen pizza, a bunch of pierogies and about 6 cookies. I haven't eaten since then and won't for the rest of the day, but damn, I didn't want to do that. I took my fat ass on a dog walk, but my dog takes forever sniffing, so it's not really much exercise for either of us. I don't know how long we were gone, but when we were close to home, the crows in the area were cawing at us. These crows know me. I fed them peanuts almost every day last summer and since then they're always watching me. 80% of mornings, the instant I'm out the door, I hear them all cawing about it. They for sure know my comings and goings. At home, I put the dog inside and found my nearly empty bag of crow peanuts. I went over to the walking track where I used to meet up with them in the morning and they were there waiting for me. I threw some peanuts out, they grabbed them and we just hung out for a while. I walked around the track and they stashed their peanuts in the field. I went around the track until I didn't feel so goddamn fat and then came back home.